Hello everyone, my name is Ryan Cam, and I'm reviewing a new release in 2020. I can't believe it. It's been so long. I've been down such an AFI project rabbit hole. It just feels so good. But I forget, what am I reviewing again? Hold on, let me check my notes. It's, Oh, Artemis Fowl. Oh no. Well, I guess like the Rolling Stones once said, you can't always get what you want. Artemis Fowl was directed by Kenneth Branagh, the director of several Shakespeare adaptations, the most recent live-action Cinderella for Disney, as well as Thor. You'll want to keep in mind that Kenneth Branagh is actually a good director when watching this movie. Please don't, but if you do, just please keep in mind that Kenneth Branagh is actually good at his job. It stars Ferdia Shaw, Josh Gad, Colin Farrell, and Judi Dench, among others, and it is based on the YA book series written by this gentleman. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that name, so I will just put his name in the lower third. It tells the story of a young boy named Artemis Fowl, played by Ferdia Shaw, who must find a magical object and return it to a secret society made up of various magical species, including centaurs, goblins, and trolls, or as they're collectively known as, fairies. This movie is getting torn to shreds. Like, it ain't pretty, folks. I've been reading reviews of it all day, and it's like someone needs to, throw in the white towel or something. Even Scott Mendelson, a critic over at Forbes that I read often and is actually good at his job, he called it one of the worst YA movies ever made. That is a heavy claim. And while I do understand where he is coming from, I do have to disagree slightly. Now, before any of you get mad, let me explain. This movie is bad, but I don't think it's the worst YA movie ever made, or even one of the worst. In my lifetime alone, I have lived for 23 years. In my lifetime, I have been through the Twilight Saga, the Divergent Saga, all three of those movies that were supposed to be 4, but they were so bad they got canceled, and M. Night Shyamalan trying to adapt one of my all-time favorite TV series and failing miserably. So when you say, oh, Artemis Fowl is the worst YA movie ever made, Twilight Saga, Last Airbender, and Divergent have all collectively entered the chat. The best thing that I can say about Artemis Fowl is that it actually looks decent. The visuals on that I thought were pretty good. I read one review that said the visuals look like they're not even finished, and I do disagree with that. Some of the shots were even filmed on the coast of Ireland itself, so I give Kenneth Branagh all the credit in the world for wanting to shoot on location. And now I dive into the rest of this movie, which is just very bad. Knowing with full context that this movie has been passed from director to director. It was supposed to be released all the way in 2001, and it didn't get off the ground. And it was supposed to be released as late back as 2015, and it was supposed to be produced by Harvey Weinstein. But it got pulled for very obvious reasons. That doesn't mean that this movie ain't bad, because it is bad. Firstly, let's talk about Ferdia Shaw. Now, I don't want to trash this kid, because I'm sure that he was just given directions and he was trying his best. But he was about as animated as a block of wood. As a matter of fact, I think Plank from Ed, Edd and Eddy would have been a better actor than this kid. And what rubs more salt in the wound is the fact that he is the grandson of Robert Shaw, Quint from Jaws. And in regards to this kid's acting, to take a quote from his grandfather, "You've got city hands. You've counted money all your life." And despite the fact that I like Josh Gad and he can be very talented, I think he is on a personal quest to touch every single one of my nerves. He is the narrator throughout this entire movie, and he talks like this, like he marathoned the entire Dark Knight trilogy while in quarantine. And he is the narrator throughout the entire movie, talking like this. What do I even say? Colin Farrell, he's there. He exists. I read in one review that it took him 3 days to film all of his footage. I am not surprised by this knowledge. And now let's talk about Judi Dench, because good God, I am just so sad over what has happened to Judi Dench. First, she is Old Deuteronomy in that Cats abomination that I think is so bad it's hysterical. But now she is in this. And in this movie, this is where I lost it. When she arrives at the Fowl estate with her entire fairy army, she walks off the ship, and in the most badass way that she thought she could, she says, "Top of the morning." At that exact moment, I checked myself out. And I think that the biggest insult of this movie is the story, as the fact that there is almost none. It's the MacGuffin storytelling that we've seen in The Rise of Skywalker and other Disney movies lately. It's events. It's not a story, it's a series of events. Events are not story. Story is story. And this movie, everyone looks like they're just running around like chickens with their heads cut off. I now have to compliment The Last Airbender. I really don't want to do this, but here it goes. At least The Last Airbender had a story. It was told poorly, and the characters had very awkward dialogue, and it was a complete machination of the source material, and M. Night Shyamalan ruined my child, and yes, he would get better later, but he just completely ruined my child, and I hate that movie, I hate that movie, I hate it! I'm sorry about that. Let's finish the review. Artemis Fowl is garbage. Minus the visuals, everything about this is subpar at best and just laughably bad at worst. This movie's horrid. Like, let's just stick a fork in it. It's done. Well, minus the mental breakdown, I think that worked out pretty well. Guys, thank you so much as always for watching. Stay tuned for the AFI project. I'll be covering On the Waterfront from 1954 and It's a Wonderful Life from 1941. That should be a lot of fun. And I'm also going to be gearing up for Nolan Month here on the channel, where I'll be covering every single movie directed by Christopher Nolan leading up to Tenet. But if you like this video, please be sure to leave a like, comment your thoughts on Artemis Fowl in the comments down below. And if you like this video and you want to see more like it, hit the subscribe button and click the bell to allow notifications. That way when a new video drops, you will be the first to know about it. My name is Ryan Cam, and top of the morning.